Welcome to the Rummage Report for April 28, 2026. Today's topic is Republicans Prepare for Tough Midterm Elections. Sam Balance kicks us off today.
Hey guys, I just read about the upcoming midterms, and it's shaping up to be a real doozy for the Republicans. They're holding on to some narrow majorities in both the House and Senate, but with Trump's approval ratings below 30% among key groups like Hispanics and young voters, they could be in serious trouble come November. Here's what it means for everyday people. If Republicans lose seats, we could see a slowdown in legislation that directly impacts our lives, like job creation and healthcare reforms. Tariff-driven inflation has already pushed gas prices up, and with the ongoing Iran conflict, we might feel even more strain on our wallets. This isn't just a political game. It's about how much we're paying at the pump or for groceries. With all this in mind, it seems like the GOP needs to pivot and start addressing real issues instead of just focusing on their base.
Sam, you're spot on about how crucial these midterms are for everyday Americans. If Republicans lose their majorities, we could see a halt to critical legislation that directly affects job growth and the economy. Take the recent domestic policy megabill that aimed to boost infrastructure and create jobs. If that gets stalled, it's the working class families who will pay the price. And let's not forget how rising gas prices are squeezing budgets. The GOP needs to get a handle on inflation, or voters will feel it in their wallets. They have to pivot and show they can deliver real solutions, or they risk losing the support they need from those key voter groups.
Sam, you nailed it on how critical these midterms are for everyday Americans. The stakes are high, especially for working families who are already feeling the pinch from rising costs. If Republicans lose their grip on Congress, we might finally see some accountability on issues like healthcare. Right now, the GOP is rolling back access to care, which hits families hard. Think of the single mom trying to afford her child's asthma medication. If Democrats gain control, they could push through reforms that lower prescription costs and expand coverage, directly impacting people's lives for the better. It's not just politics. It's about real solutions for real problems.
Casey, you make a solid point about the potential impact on job growth if Republicans lose their majorities. However, let's think about the small businesses that could really feel the pinch here. Many rely on government contracts and infrastructure spending to thrive. If legislation stalls, these businesses may struggle to hire and keep employees, impacting local economies and communities. Plus, if inflation continues to rise, these businesses will have a harder time passing costs on to consumers without losing sales, which could spiral into layoffs. It's a cycle that hits everyday families hard.
Sam, you're right to highlight the impact on small businesses. Another angle to consider is how these midterms could affect veterans. Many veterans rely on government programs for healthcare and job support. If Republicans lose their majorities, we might see a slowdown in initiatives that help them transition to civilian life, like job training and healthcare access. It's not just about the economy. It's about honoring our commitments to those who served. If Congress stalls on these issues, it could leave veterans struggling just when they need support the most.
Casey, you've brought up an essential point about the impact on veterans, which often gets overlooked in these discussions. But let's also think about young people and students. With the rising cost of education and the burden of student loans, if Republicans maintain control, we might not see any significant reforms aimed at making college more affordable or forgiving student debt. This isn't just about politics, it's about the future of our workforce. A generation of young people struggling with debt can't buy homes or start families, which has long-term implications for our economy. Real change is necessary to give them a fighting chance, and that's why these midterms matter.
The Conversation. In their discussion about the upcoming midterm elections, Casey Liberty, Sam Balance, and Jordan Progress all recognize the importance of the elections for everyday Americans, particularly regarding job growth and economic stability. They agreed that if Republicans lose their majorities, critical legislation affecting infrastructure and healthcare could be stalled, impacting working families and small businesses. However, they diverged on the specifics of who would be most affected. Casey emphasized the potential negative effects on veterans and small businesses, while Jordan highlighted the urgency of addressing healthcare access and student debt for young people. This revealed a deeper disagreement about which demographic issues should take precedence in political discourse. Worth thinking about: 1. Should the Republican Party focus on diversifying its platform to attract younger voters? Or is it more important for them to stay true to their core base, even if it risks losing broader appeal? 2. If Congress stalls on critical legislation affecting veterans and small businesses, what ethical responsibility do lawmakers have to ensure these groups are not left behind? 3. How do we balance the need for economic reforms, such as infrastructure spending, with the immediate concerns of rising inflation and cost of living for average families? If you asked me, and remember, I'm a raccoon, I'd say it's all about the nuts and bolts. If you can't afford to fill your pantry, who cares about the politics?